Shut up and sit down.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Nerdsplaining podcast. I'm your host, Eric Da Silva. With me, as always, my co-host, Jose
Greetings,
Romero.
salutations, nerds around the world. We're back reviewing the Week in Geek. Give you takes on the nerdy nuggets dropping. We got some trailers. We got some MCU news, other tidbits.
Right.
But unfortunately, I hate to start the show like this, but
Bit of
memoriam today. Yeah, because we got the news along with the whole country. Zamunda is in mourning, as are we. But there's a sad passing of legendary actor, iconic voice, the greatest voice in cinematic history, let's be honest. James Earl Jones, who passed at 93, man. Another one of the Star Wars crew that's, toppling down as we get older. It is what it is. And this just goes to show. Listen, what's going on? The Kathleen Kennedy's rule. This is another. I know we lose some of Carrie Fisher, the Chihuahua, and now James. What is going on here? Why is she still? No, I'm just joking. Not her fault. Not her fault.
She can't be blamed for everything.
Not her fault. It happened in her regime now. But all kidding aside, no, it's definitely one of those days. Like, man, that one. It didn't hit me as hard as when Carrie Fisher went down because he's 93, right? Let's be honest. He's 93 years old. So hey, we should all be so lucky at the end.
It
at the
also
end of the day,
makes sense why he signed the voice rights over to Lucas.
Yes.
He's like, I need a big fat paycheck for my family because I'm getting kind of close to the end. So let's wrap this up.
Yeah, it was good. But I mean, listen, it's that voice. I mean, come on. Vader's not Vader was not James Earl Jones. Let's just be honest, right?
I mean, listen, it hurt me the other day. I was watching CNN. I go, this is CNN. I was like, oh, it was CNN.
It's crazy. And, Vader is one of the greatest villains of cinematic history. One on top, I don't know. It's arguable.
He was a bad guy in the Conan movie.
He's a bad guy in
Conan
Conan
Dark
movie.
Wizard.
Mufasa, hello, getting hit.
Mufasa,
getting his movie in December.
King of Zamunda, Conan America. I mean, the guy's had a wide varied
Field of
history.
Dreams, come on, a classic film.
Field of Dreams,
classic film.
The Sandlot.
The Sandlot, true, absolutely. Come on, now you're killing me, so. He won various Emmys and TV. This guy did it all. But listen, this guy's a legend. The Anvils of Geek, right? The Anvils of Geek.
Absolutely.
Halls. I mean, he knows who this guy is. We all know the voice.
Honestly, I maybe this is a bold proclamation, but I feel like you could not have people like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man. You couldn't have actors really engulfing a character if it wasn't for how serious James Earl Jones took the voice acting on Vader. He took a role and added such gravitas to the effort he put into it. I feel like every time you see an actor really kind of elevate the source material to something extra, it comes from just seeing what this dude did with a voice. He wasn't even in the suit, and he made us all feel like the Vader was not just a bad guy. He was a force.
You're right. I mean,
literally, pun intended.
And I'm glad he gave his rights away, like you mentioned, because there's that's irreplaceable.
He didn't give it.
Well,
he sold it, but
he gave it away. He sold the rights. Either way, it can be used again because you can't duplicate that. It won't.
No, you can't, man.
That's one character you can't recast, a voice cast or whatever.
Nope.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Impossible. Most of the characters you can, I'm sure. Not
right.
That. It's just it won't happen.
No,
and short of, I would say. I mean, I meant when I say the greatest voice, no doubt, most recognizable. But right, close second is Morgan Freeman. After that, maybe Jeffrey Wright.
Look. If it's anything that we could possibly get to do to re-experience James Earl Jones, I hope in the future, done right, I would love to play a video game based on this comic book storyline called Vader Down, which is, when Vader's TIE fighter got damaged at the end of A New Hope when he got spun in space. There's a 4-issue miniseries where the rebellion is going after Vader. Like, we got him. He's hurt. His ship crash lands on a planet, and they're going to go kill him. And it's about how Vader took out an entire fleet of rebels. And I just would love to hear James Earl Jones' voice when there's a part where he's literally surrounded by the rebellion. And they go, Vader, put your hands up, drop your lightsaber, you're surrounded. And Vader goes, all I'm surrounded is by fear and dead men. Give me that in James Earl Jones' voice in a video game and let me slaughter the rebellion. I will cry tears. I'm like, I miss you so much, James Earl Jones.
That's hilarious.
It's
It's
just,
funny.
yeah.
We had his voice before in the what's the last
The Jedi Survivor
Jedi,
game,
yeah,
which is the
yeah,
Fallen Order
exactly,
sequel. Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, I'm glad his voice will live on. It's crazy
yeah,
how I mean, yeah, it's just by Ben's voice. Obviously, he wasn't under the suit. That was someone else who also
right.
passed away. So now the whole Raider's gone.
The whole
Yeah,
gang's up there.
physical
Yeah,
voice, whatever. It's a wrap. But no, yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, and of course, like Lion King. Lion King's my favorite animated film. Right.
it is a
It's
solid movie.
classic. Without question. We
Yeah,
made that. Like I said, Mufasa's coming out and all that. So I mean, holding up Simba. Everybody knows the line, and we've all said it.
everybody.
So we're joking around. It's crazy, man. But yeah, dude, he's 93, so our childhood is little by little. We got two left, really. We got Luke and Han,
And Han.
and Han's knocking on the door. Let's be honest.
Well, listen, if the Red Hulk is teaching us anything, he's got a few more years
He may
left.
have a
Let him
few
live
more
on
years,
island.
but he's definitely on the chopping block. He's on deck. He's
Absolutely,
on
yeah,
deck,
it
right?
is. Yeah,
And
uh
Mark
huh.
Hamill's not. I know he's like 72, 73.
But he's a little bit behind, but still he's within
You're
range.
right. He's within range. He's in the biting lineup, right? Yeah, he's
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Eventually, scratch his name up. But yeah, and then there were two, right? Unless I'm not missing somebody. As far as major, I don't think. I
I
mean,
mean
you can
Lando,
land. I thought.
but he's not doing that great
I
either.
know, but
Like,
he's not. I mean, nah.
are you kidding me? That he's not. Did you see him in the Last Skywalker and then or the Rise of Skywalker and everything?
That
I
you're not
mean,
helping the case.
sitting down is great,
I mean,
but
I
his
guess if you want to
mobility
include Lando,
is
fair enough. He
Billy
has been called
Williams. I
he has
love
been
Billy
called
Williams, but
an
it's
Uncle Tom. I just want to throw it out there. It's a deep cut for those who know what I'm referencing.
oh yeah. I was like,
Yeah, come
what do
on,
you
you
call?
know what
Oh
you have to
right,
know what I'm
he's
referencing.
actually in. Okay,
Okay,
yeah, all
all right,
right.
just saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
you caught me for a second. I
Well,
was
like,
I was triggered by
no,
the
I was
name
like,
and I
I
didn't think
know
about
you
the source.
know
Like,
what I'm
oh wait a minute,
talking
you're
about.
actually right.
Of
Yeah,
course, those who know Kevin Smith, I know exactly what I'm talking about. But I guess yeah, you can toss him in. He's yeah, that's fine. He's the remaining, but it's really Han and Luke are the you know big
yeah,
ones, right? Let's be honest. So
yeah.
yeah, so it's sad to see him go, and there's no easy transition from that to
And,
this. Oh,
well,
what?
I because we're talking passing away more,
Oh,
and
yes, correct, yeah.
we've talked movies, but I will say in terms of comic books, we also lost one of the most amazing comic book artists. John Cassidy passed away. If you don't know John Cassidy, do yourself a favor, go into his books. He drew Planetary. He drew books for the Avengers. He drew Astonishing X-Men. Astonishing X-Men. Say what you will about Josh Whedon. We understand problematic.
Really?
He drew Josh Whedon's run on Astonishing X-Men, and it was one of the coolest runs I've ever read. It was so good. The final issue on the run, just to give you an idea, the X-Men have been fighting this interdimensional alien empire, and the empire's lost. Like the X-Men have beat them, so like they're so mad that like if we're going down, we're taking it with us, and they basically have a gun the size of like the Marianas Trench, and it fires a bullet that's going through the dimensions to go. It'll come out of our dimension to hit Earth, and every hero is like, "We're gonna stop this bullet," and they team up together and they stop the bullet until you realize the bullet is emitting an energy wave that's making every hero hallucinate, imagining they've stopped the bullet. So you see the bullet come there, and every hero's passed on the ground just really with a big dumb smile on their face, like, ah. And you're like, oh my god, everyone is on the ground. We're dead. There's no way we can survive it. And Kitty Pryde is like, I could face the bullet. And they're like, but it's too big. She's like, if you get me there on it, I can phase the whole bullet. They're like, but if you let go before it goes through the planet, we're all die. She's like, I will make sure I get through the whole thing. And they're like, but then how are you gonna get off? And she's like, it doesn't matter. Let me do it. And she sacrifices herself. Magneto throws her onto the bullet. She grabs on, and she spends like an hour, or not an hour, like maybe like 10 minutes before it hits. She's like exhausting herself. And she not only faces the bullet, but it goes through the whole planet. And then when she goes off, they go to Magneto. Turn the bullet back, get off. And he's like, I can't. It's not even an earth metal. I can't control it. And she gets launched into space. They write her off for a couple of years. Eventually, of course, comics, you get
Of
back, blah,
course.
blah, blah. But that moment was not only an amazing Kitty Pride moment, but the whole book was drawn so great. I can't stress it enough. He was a treasure. He was one of the pinnacles, and it is a bummer that I will never get to see any of his new artwork. And he was a young guy. He was like in his like
Oh
40s or
wow, he's
50s.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was a real bummer, man. So yeah, John Cassidy
James
and
Earl
James
Jones.
Earl
And
Jones, two.
I'll say this: they picked the right time to go out. There's ever a right time because pretty soon we're gonna get Venom. So it's better than around
No, it's not.
to go
It's not.
through
No,
that.
no. I don't think Venom 3 was the bow out
I'm just.
point. Madam Web, I would have said, oh, you got a point.
You're right, but they
But if
passed
you can
that
survive
point. I
Madam
mean, that
Web,
is like there's
that
certain points in life. That was one, obviously, an easy one, but it could be another.
Madam Web is like a five way MMA fight, and and Venom 3 is like Rochambeau.
That's fair. But yeah, so I know you wanted to. Well, I know you saw the last trailer. I didn't watch more in the first trailer.
Yes.
Curious as far as get your thoughts on that because you talked a little bit before the show.
It was a trailer. It literally was nothing new, nothing amazing. Just like just extended scenes, a little bit more, a little bit after moments you already saw in the trailer pre-existing. I know they launched some artwork where you saw a frog that had the Venom suit on it. Because remember we talked about your leak. So I found out that it's going to go to multiple animals. So apparently it's going to go in a
Yep.
frog. The only thing that I saw in the trailer that it made me go, oh, was a joke. And the joke had nothing to do about comic books. It was a joke about movies. And I feel at that moment, that joke personified the entire Venom franchise. It was Eddie Brock, half Eddie Brock, half Venom, and he's clinging onto the side of an airplane as it's flying through the air. And Eddie Brock goes, how does Tom Cruise do this?
That's pretty good. That's not bad. Okay, that's not
And
bad.
so I was like,
Okay, that's not
okay,
bad.
yeah, I
That's
get
not
it.
bad.
But isn't that in a nutshell what the
Yeah,
entire Venom
you're right. Yeah,
franchise has been?
yeah.
And so you going, okay,
Okay,
all right, it's fine.
that's
Yeah,
good.
whatever,
That's
man.
pretty.
Go,
That's
let's
good of you.
go.
I can dig that.
Yeah. So that was but that moment was, if you're trying to sell me on like why to watch, why do we give a crap about the Venom movies? It's because that joke personified the entire feeling of the Venom franchise. It's not great. They're not doing anything amazing, but you're like, okay, yeah, whatever, man.
It,
Fine, cool, let's
it could
go.
be
So yeah,
entertaining
that's it.
enough at the end of the day,
Yeah,
right?
entertaining enough. It
Potentially.
makes you kind of smirk against your will, and you're like, all right,
Fine.
yeah, crazy, so
Damn
and so.
Venom.
So
You
yeah,
mentioned something about an end credit scene or something? Because I haven't heard anything about that.
I
Yeah,
heard
kind of curious.
from my contacts, I heard there is supposedly one of two end credit scenes. There is either going to be an end credit scene where it's going to officially connect with the multiverse, to the Sony multiverse and the Marvel multiverse,
Okay.
to, as a way for possibly for him to connect to Secret Wars, possibly, or they're going to set up. There's going to be, from what I heard, the other option is that they're going to infer something during the movie, and then the end credit is to firmly establish Noel as the big bad of the MCU Spider-Man. So
Oh,
they
the
want to
next.
make
Okay.
Noel like the Thanos. So to kind of show, and because Noel is a super cosmic being, that could also connect to the multiverse as well. Because since this is the last Venom, the multiverse connection will be a way to establish how Peter Parker gets the black suit in the MCU proper. And so that's like the backdoor connection because of the giant hive mind. But the hive mind is controlled by Noel. So it's either going to be just a multiverse or Noel and how he connects to the multiverse, which is how eventually both ways Peter gets the black Venom suit,
Supposedly.
supposedly. So
Well,
that's what I heard.
we'll see. I gotta stick around for. I gotta watch an extra 10 minutes of Venom to
Yeah.
see. God, bastards.
Hopefully Eminem has a new rap,
Yeah,
and that'll make it
yeah,
so much
yeah.
better.
Salvage it, right? Before we get into MCU, I know something you brought up. Chaos. This is show on
Yes.
Netflix, which I reviewed on the watch list a couple weeks ago. Jeff Goldblum, I love Jeff Goldblum, right?
I
Who
mean,
doesn't?
the
I
Bloom
mean,
is
come
just
on,
great.
he's a
Better than
he's a
Orlando.
chaotician. If that's the right word, yeah, he's a chaotician. He is going to show us basically kind of a modern take on mythology, the gods, and all that. He plays Zeus.
Which is really the OG superheroes, if you want to
Oh,
talk
right,
about it.
yeah,
Like,
Poseidon, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah, besides
Hera,
Aquaman,
yeah,
Hades is Batman, Zeus is like Superman, Odin, whichever way you want to
yeah,
play it.
yeah.
It's all super mythology, but I like the fact that it is right, the modern take, but not like they've been going on forever. It's like, what if the mythology was occurring now?
Right,
Like
exactly. It
that.
takes place in real time,
I
right?
did
There's,
like
the world
right.
knows about these guys. They pray them.
And
You know,
even then, it's not even now. Now it would be like more like 1995
well, it
now
could.
because they don't have cell phones, but they have wireless phones with the big antennas.
Well, fair
So
enough.
it's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
it's very
yeah.
95. So I was like, okay, it's kind of cool where you're making it present day, but not too present day. Like there's no internet, there's nothing like that. It is a semi modern take
Yeah.
on it, and I like the fact that they positioned Prometheus as their defunct Deadpool, kind
Kind
of.
of. Yeah. I mean, he's the narrator
Regular
of the
purple
show, and yeah,
talking to us the whole
yeah.
time, right? I was surprised seeing some of the people that we know, like as far as the actors in it. I was very pleased with like the level of acting from everybody else. It was one of those things where I feel like a lot of Netflix series are either really interesting or it feels like just a thing you have to slog through. Like, all right,
It
I'm
could be
gonna
very
watch
generic.
this
They
now.
got a lot of generic stuff. They do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Chaos was one of those shows where I was like, I'm
No,
hooked.
listen, it was
This
a
is
cool premise. It really was. I like the premise a lot. I liked the show. I didn't love the show. I liked it. I love
yeah,
the idea of it. That was really cool. I know it was, I thought it was, at first I thought it was a limited series. That it wasn't. I was like, okay, it's good to see it. It could potentially come back if it does well. But
sure.
I'm interested to see it. I mean, look, Jeff Goldblum, he's just chewing up scenery everywhere. I love it.
Oh, Jeff.
Come
I
on,
mean, listen.
it's
If you're like, man, I wish there was more Jeff Goldblum. Watch this, and it is just. And well, here's the best part: he is completely likable while being very
yeah.
unlikable, which is the best Jeff
It
Goldblum.
really is, and like I said, they do a really good job of weaving in that kind of the mythology in more of a modern ish. We got the whole like the Trojans are there. They're just a different uh, country or whatever. I guess right. I guess a different region or something like that.
Right,
The
right.
rival and whatever. Second class citizens, so they take that approach to it, which is kind of cool.
Very much like an apartheid
Yeah,
situation
yeah.
with it. Right.
But
So
yeah, sometimes it has some good ideas. It really does. The three women, I forgot.
this the
The Fates.
fates.
There you go. That was cool. It's like it takes a lot of cool ideas. Like okay, let's translate it to
Eddie,
today's times.
seeing Eddie Izzard there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big Eddie Izzard
Mhm.
fan, so I was like, I know Eddie changed his name, but it's like if you just want to call me Eddie, it's
Sure.
fine. So as a comedian, I grew up watching Eddie Izzard, so I'm going to just refer to him. So I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not dead naming. I'm just saying I know. But seeing the fates and their you can't change even if you don't want to acknowledge. I always love stuff like
Sure.
that. Like I like Destiny and Fate, but I don't like the idea of being very much like I like the idea of fates in stories, but I don't like the idea of fate in real life just because if not, this is horrible and I want my money back. But in a story, I like to when you see the reinterpretation of it or how to move things around, or maybe like it happens, but just not in the time frame you want it. So you got to take that into context. I always like that kind of idea about fate and destiny and time. So, and I felt like the show really put a lot to it. So I was surprisingly, I liked
no,
it.
it was good.
And if you want to see something superhero but not chaos, was
No,
a
it's a
really
cool, it's an
good and
interesting
surprising.
show. I think it's definitely worth checking out. You may not like it, you may do, but
Yeah,
at least check it out. I do like how they portrayed Hades and how they work that and how Hades works. With the black and white
yeah.
and what the people do when they cross over, etc. That was really cool. But yeah, it's a cool show. It's a cool show. I don't think it's gonna be for everybody, but I think you should give it a shot. I really do. Especially if you like mythology.
Yeah.
Why not? Or
Yeah.
like Jeff Goldblum. Come on, guys. Who doesn't like Jeff Goldblum?
You know what? It felt like? It felt like a more fun version of American Gods.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, American Guy, which I liked the first season, but then it tanked after that.
Yeah,
It
it
really
did.
did.
It did, and this felt like a real fun kind of
Yeah,
like light.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the stakes were there, but they were having fun
Yeah,
with
it was,
it,
it
and
was a
that was
little bit
one that I
lighter.
like. I was like,
Yeah,
that's kind of
much lighter
cool.
tone than
I like
American
this.
Gods.
Yeah,
I liked the first season. Like I said, it just didn't
yeah.
continue.
Second season kind of got a little bit
Yeah, it was
like
not
it's
good.
almost like it assumed their farts don't smell. Like, oh,
Yeah,
look how great we are. Like,
yeah, it lost itself, and then the third season was not
yeah,
good. So it is weird, but it's a cool show. It's I'm interested.
Yeah,
I'll see season 2 if it comes out, but yeah, definitely check it out.
absolutely.
MCU side, we got a few things, and actually, I want to circle back on something real quick. Because we talked about Josh Brolin last week. He was offered the role of Green Lantern. We talked about him and
Right.
other rumored casting for that role. And again, it was a kind of rumor at the time, but the rumor it was actually true because it's been reported now that Josh Brolin has turned down the role. To turn it down, that means he had to been offered the role.
They offered the
so
role.
it was legit.
So what you're saying is Green Lantern might be going, all right.
It's potential. I mean, yeah, Josh Brolin passed on it, so he's not making the historic, multiverse universe.
He's not going to be the EGOT of
he won't be. He's
right?
just missing out. It's still just Michael Keaton for now.
Or do you want Green Lantern to go, hello there?
That's what I'm saying.
What are we doing?
I have heard Chris Pine's name been tossed around, which I think
really?
really interesting.
That would be really interesting.
I think I would like him because he's a good actor. He really is. But he's slightly more youthful, so he can still play off how you can still be grizzled Hal Jordan, but still have a little bit of that playfulness that Hal Jordan has. I think Chris Pine can put off. I mean, that's again rumor. I haven't nothing concrete, but yeah. So it's who's next? I don't know, but yeah, that was kind of interesting. At least that rumor was true, and we'll see who they hire and cast. It's going to be somebody older.
Do you think he turned it down because he's like, I mean, listen, I might come back as Cable for Secret Wars. I saw a great.
Honestly, I just think it's a lot. He's done the Thanos, and he's done 3 of them, right? Well, if you want to count the Jonah Hex, but it's a lot. Maybe he doesn't feel like dealing with it. I don't know. It's a commitment. This is a series, so it takes more commitment, and then you may show up in the movies. It's a lot. Spring chicken.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. When you sign on to this, you're signing up for the whole
right. Yeah,
thing.
Exactly. So the whole kid and caboodle. So it's a lot of money, I'm sure, but it's a lot of commitment.
If you think about it, imagine how many times we heard actors going, "Oh, I don't want to sign on to a 3 or 6 picture deal." Imagine in a evergreen media deal.
Right. Yeah.
Every cartoon, every video game, every movie, every show. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Joaquin Phoenix turned down Doctor Strange for that reason. He didn't want to be.
Yeah.
He would do one. Exactly he would have done a bunch of them. So it happens, and whatever floats your boat, it's all good. But that said, we'll stick with Marvel. There's a couple things popped up. The first one, this is interesting. This is again a rumor, a strong rumor. But I guess with all the shuffling around at Marvel and Kevin Feige, cutting back on shows and whatever, who knows what's going on? And there's not a huge surprise. It shouldn't be, but there's a strong rumor that they're really trying to decide whether or not to move forward with Blade and Armor Wars, with both of them.
Yeah.
They both may be up in the chopping block, maybe just one. They haven't decided yet. So,
which black superhero?
I want to throw out the race card. I'm just saying, why isn't Vision on there? I mean, you can't.
Well, to be
you
fair,
can't get more wider than Vision, dude. I'm just saying.
They cancel the Eternals. They're like, oh, you guys.
I don't know what's going on right there at Disney. But no. So, Armor Wars. I mean, listen. I don't care. They can cancel Armor Wars. It's not going to bother me. It really is not. I mean, whatever. Don Cheadle's cool, but he's not.
As a comic book fan, it bums me out.
I get it
because
I get it.
I would have liked to actually see Don Cheadle as Iron Man because Jim Rhodes does don the red and gold armor in the comics for a hot minute. In fact, really cool in the OG Secret Wars, when Rhodes takes off the helmet, he reveals to Mr. Fantastic that he's black. He's like, "What's the matter? Did you not expect a black man to be under the suit?" And it was this happened in the early '80s, so it was very much like dealing with like racial, I wouldn't say prejudice, but like assumptions and that kind of thing. And it was very much like when Jon Stewart became a Green Lantern, it kind of dealt with the stuff that maybe you didn't consider because you took things for granted. It was really interesting. I would have loved to see Don Cheadle in the red and gold, sort of keeping up the idea of Iron Man out there, not just being War Machine. And I was kind of hoping that's what Armor Wars would do.
I mean, it's just, I mean, it may not be canceled, but I could definitely get why.
But I could see why they wouldn't, because it's very much a lofty idea instead of a necessity. And I feel like right now Marvel's got to do necessity movies.
And they didn't do Don Cheadle and his character any favors with Secret Invasion.
Well, see now, Secret Wars really messed up a lot of that stuff.
Right, so it's like, you really want to follow that with it. So I don't know. So I get it. I get it. But Blade, I mean, I love to see Blade. I want to see Blade, but should we be surprised? I mean, honestly, if they cancel it, are we going to bat an eye? Okay.
You would be disappointed.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, I want to see it, but it's like, Dude,
Right.
I mean, 5 years later, we're getting close to 6 years, and multiple directors. We don't know anything. We have no
I know.
production
I
date,
know.
script.
Do you remember? Do you remember just a few weeks ago we were daydreaming about the secret director they were going to announce for Blade at San Diego, or even at
Jordan
D23.
Peele.
We're
Yeah,
like,
remember
oh
Jordan
man, would it
Peele
be
was the
great?
name? Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
and nothing.
nothing. There's nothing. I don't think they can crack this code for whatever it is.
Even though, even though there was a small rumor I heard recently that the director of John Wick was in contention
that
to get
that'd be
Blade.
awesome. But
That would be
at this
great.
point, I don't know. I mean, well, he's also busy doing the Highlander series as well. So, I don't know if he had time for something like this because that's a commitment.
Okay.
But yeah, I and that's my biggest complaint with the MCU is that they're so stuck on this universe, and because if they didn't have to tie us into anything, you could do Blade very easily. I
Yeah.
just think they're having a hard time fitting this
But
character
here's the
in
thing:
this
you
world.
could make this first movie literally not connect to everything. You could have done
You
this movie and
could,
just,
but I don't think they want to. That's not their MO.
but like Shang Chi doesn't connect to anything really. Really, it doesn't.
Well,
It connects to the general universe, but not like you have to watch Shang-Chi
no,
to
you have
understand the
to watch it. But
multiverse.
what I'm saying is like Shang-Chi fits in this world, right? This connection we have, they show that some of the other characters they're there, so
Sure.
it's very much in the world of the MCU, right? No more fantastical, but it's still there. Blade is not a character you associate with this current iteration of the MCU.
All you gotta have
You
is
know,
Doc Strange show up, and boom, you're in. That's it. All you gotta have is it literally. Oh, they're using blood magic. Doc
You know why
Strange.
it doesn't work?
Boom.
Blade's in this world of vampires, just like X-Men. That's why I
Yeah.
don't want to see X-Men in the MCU. It's nonsense, right? They can do it. It's just not going to be good. Blade, like X-Men, deserve their own thing, and it works better as their own thing. He's fighting vampires. That's what he does. He's not out there fighting Thanos. No, I don't care about that. Nobody cares about Blade fighting some intergalactic, nobody cares. He's a vampire killer. That's what he does, right? And it's hard to take him out of that element and shoehorn him in the MCU and make it viable in a world that okay, now we have potentially mutants, X Men, whatever. We got all these heroes and supervillains, and now we have vampires. It's a lot to toss in in the
I'll
soup, right?
tell
It's a lot.
you why I Marvel's done a very for the past I'd say 15 years. Marvel's done a big considered effort of making vampires part of their universe. So much so, and this is one of the things that I got a little excited about when I was watching Secret Invasion, which is a weird thing to say, is in the Marvel universe because of the vampires got their own country given to them by the United Nations, and guess where their country is?
Oh,
Chernobyl,
Chernobyl.
because they're not affected
Yeah.
by radiation. So because Chernobyl was in Secret Invasion and they were taking out everyone out and did the scrolls, I thought like, oh, what a great way to start setting up that place already was set up to be sort of like a commune society. The vampires could just fill up that spot and take it over. And that would be a really cool place to make a vampire movie, make a Blade movie, because now they have this whole thing. Maybe they're using alien tech with their own blood magic, and so now Blade and Shield, maybe a little Doctor Strange.
What
Like I was getting excited on the possibility because that location connects to everything and it connects to the comics, so it's right there. That's what I thought.
Yeah, that wouldn't work. Not in this version of MCU. It just doesn't work. It just and I love Blade. That's why I kept saying make it. What can his baby Blade be Blade? Why do you have to toss him in? You don't have to do that, right? You can make him
I
his
mean,
own
you could
movie.
you
You could have done like what, listen. They bought Aliens. Aliens is not in the MCU. They brought Predator. I don't see Iron Man dancing around the Predator. You don't need to put Blade. Blade can have Blade movie. That's it. You don't. It's not connected. It's not the MCU. We're not gonna put him in the Secret War. We don't need that nonsense. He's just Blade, and
I
it's okay to just have Blade be
I
Blade.
think you can do just a Blade
That's what I'm
movie,
saying.
and then
But they don't want
but
to
at
do
the
that.
very end, connect them a little bit, like
No,
have your on your post credit,
nothing,
you connect it.
nothing.
It's very
No,
easy. I don't see the problem. Like
because and
it's
also
not
the
the big
tone, like putting Deadpool now in an MCU movie would be a huge mistake because the tone is not the same. Deadpool works because he's rated R. He does what he does. He
right.
can and he can still be funny, but it's like watching a PG version, which they had a PG-13, and which didn't work. It doesn't
Right.
work. That was his own thing. You can put a different character and put him in his world. That works. You can't put him in their world. Blade, you have to put Blade in this world. It doesn't work, and there's a reason why they can't crack this code. This is not, it's not rocket science. They can't get the script right. They can't fit it into their plans, right? Of the long-term plans of the whatever they're trying to do, and if they're going to even the mutants, forget Blade doesn't make some mutants anymore. Anything else does. It doesn't work. So that's what I'm saying. And because after this, they said Secret Wars is going to be the end of this multiverse, phase.
Right.
And I'm assuming it's going to lead to the next phase, which is going to be, I would assume, mutants, right? I guess. It doesn't work. He doesn't fit there either. So it's weird. So I get it.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like if they were smart, what you're going to do is the next phase after the multiverse. You call the mutant phase, but what you really want to call it is the evolution phase. Because what you want to do is you want to evolve the world to mutants. You want to evolve the world of super science, which is a Fantastic Four. And you want to evolve the supernatural world, which is your Ghost Rider, your Blade, your Moon Knights, your Doc Strange.
That could be a separate
I think it should
thing.
be the evolution
if they
phase.
have just a separate universe with that, fair enough, right?
I know. Look, you got to get out of your head. It's all going to be one universe, like in the regular comics.
Oh,
it's
right.
all
but
one
I think
universe.
That works against them. That's what I'm saying. That works against them.
I don't think so. I think I think you could really build off a lot. But you don't have to be so it doesn't have to be immediately irregularly tied. You just have stuff out there, and then maybe
because you always have the question. Which happens now, and it's annoying. And you hear people all the time talk about it, right? Whether it be a big event and no one shows up, right? So why we know this world is full of heroes? Why isn't Thor? Why isn't Captain America? Right? Where are they at? Right now, you're gonna have 100,000 stupid characters running around this big event, and no one's helping but that one character. It's just at some point it doesn't make any sense.
But it happens in comics too.
Oh, I know. I get it, but you can do it in comic books, right? What you do in comics, I feel, but 90% of comics, 90%, and maybe 99% does not work in film, which is why they all get changed and adapted to fit the format and the storytelling format and the film.
I disagree. I think it's more of a budget issue than a concept issue.
It's a concept. Well,
I don't think so.
It happens all the time. There's a reason why Secret Invasion is totally different. There's a reason for that.
Oh, now that's a budget issue. That has nothing to do with the concept.
But the story is nowhere near what they developed.
You would need $1 billion to make it the way it was in the comics. But all these stories,
the Civil War, is not like the comic. They took concepts of the comics, but you can never take the full comic and these ideas. It just doesn't work. This is why the multiverse does not work. The multiverse has. I
think the problem with multiverse is that people don't know what's important because you're seeing so many versions of the same thing.
Right.
Does it all matter, or does some of it matter, or does none of it matter?
It's easy to set up in a comic, is what I'm saying, as opposed to a film. It's hard to do that in movie. It's hard. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of build-up, and you just can't do that in this format.
I think the reason why Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse works is because you were introduced to the multiverse up front.
It worked because
as opposed to watching Spider-Man be Spider-Man.
Right, but those are characters we already knew. Those characters that we knew, and it was just that worked great. We knew these characters. That was the hook. You take those guys out, that movie's just okay. That movie worked because they brought in those two guys everybody loves. Oh, how it was just the coolest thing that Spider-Man that we seen for years.
But honestly, I'll be really honest with you. I don't think that movie would have worked as well as it did if it wasn't for Across the Spider-Verse establishing multi-Spider-Men. I think that movie did a lot of heavy lifting, so No Way Home can work as well as it did. I don't know,
maybe. But that being said,
that's my opinion.
That being said, that means MCU failed even more because you're right. Let's take away what Sony did. Now the MCU fails more, so they proved they can do it.
But every superhero movie success raises. It's like all the water raises all the boats. That kind of thing. I feel like every one of the successes raises all the other adjoining studios. You just got to learn how to utilize what they've given to the culture to make it work.
Just, like I said,
and if you don't have it,
tough. And I think that's where my biggest complaint with a lot of nerds is like they always want to see comics come to life. I said it before. I'm consistent. I never want to see what I see in comic in the screen. I don't. If I want to see that, this is my fault. If I want to see that, page. I don't want to see it again. I already seen it. Give me something new. Base it off that. Keep the themes.
I don't want to. No, I never want to see a point by point recreation. That's not what I want. I want to see illusions. I want to see the spirit of. I want to see maybe a reference to.
But some storylines, it just does not work. I'm sorry, it does not. The casual fan will never take to some of the nonsense that comic books put you through. It just doesn't, right? It doesn't fit.
I mean, not every story. You're right. Not every
I'll say,
story
like I
can be
said,
translated,
ninety
but I
percent
don't
of
think
it.
it's
Of
99.
course it
I'd say it's
is.
more like
Ninety
60 to
percent,
70%
90%.
can't
You
be
you can't
transferred.
transfer.
But there's a solid 30 that if you did it like shot for shot, it'd be great.
No, not
Like,
even.
yeah,
Not even.
I'm telling you.
Not even.
I'm I'm
It
letting you
doesn't.
know.
It doesn't work. It just doesn't. And
And here's the thing: if you can make Doc Strange and Thor work in the context of an Avengers world, everything works.
but that
That's
world is designed for that. They purposely made those films to fit these characters, and I get it. Which is why you can't force feed Blade into it. So it's just the square circle and a square peg. It doesn't work. You can try, and listen. I always tell people, no, don't take my word for it. What is Marvel telling you? We can't do it. How do I know that? How many writers? How many directors have gone through this? And now maybe they made. They're telling me, and I'm sharing it with you, it can't work. And that's what I'm saying. Make it its own thing. Don't connect it to anything, and I guarantee you can do a very good story, very easy. Blade's not a complex character. He's not. It's not
but like look at Werewolf by
like
Night.
Blade is not complex,
You think
right?
Werewolf
And
by Night
Werewolf is
works,
his very own thing.
but there's allusions to the Marvel universe in the background, like so you see it there. You literally see Gore the God
I
Killer
get it,
painted on the
but
wall.
we're not gonna see Werewolf by Night in Secret Avengers, or Secret Wars, or what Doomsday, or whatever the case is.
Right.
Blade is a character I'm sure they're banking on continuing in this world. They don't have.
But that's what I'm
They
saying.
don't have
You
to.
can make a Blade like Werewolf by Night, which it is its own
That's what I'm
movie
saying.
with very
That's
small
what I'm saying.
allusions to it in the Marvel
Right.
universe in the
But they
background.
don't.
That's
But
what I'm
they don't
saying.
want to do that. That's what I'm saying. They refuse to do that, and that's the problem.
That's
Right.
that's a
That's what
problem.
I'm saying. Right.
That's a
Like I
problem.
said, do it.
Right.
Like I said, dude, the first Blade is nice. It's nice Shakespeare. Let's be honest.
It's not.
But it's awesome. Come on, guys, it's simple. A guy killing vampires. Hello, with cool gadgets. That's it.
Like
It's not
honestly,
difficult.
if you wanted to connect directly to the Marvel universe without connecting to the Marvel universe, you do Blade 1, but instead of trying to summon the blood god, there's like
You can make more like a crime boss kind of like penguin,
like a crime
like
boss who's
yeah,
using blood magic
yeah,
or something like that.
penguin-esque. Keep it small and
Right.
contained, right?
Exactly.
That
And
works.
you realize that like
Yeah,
almost like okay, perfect. Remember the original Crow, the good one.
of course. There's
So
only one.
that dude had his own crime
Yeah,
family, but
sure. Yeah,
but his chick was like a
yeah,
witch, right?
witch,
She was
exactly.
essentially like a
Black
goth
magic,
witch.
whatever, voodoo,
Right,
whatever.
black magic. So you
Yeah,
have one of the vampires that's part of the cabal that uses blood magic, and then at the end you're like, oh, where'd they get the blood magic from? The dark hole.
whatever.
Boom,
Some
done.
spell
That's
they
it.
found in
That's
some
all you need.
ancient vampire text. It's not difficult.
Yeah.
And like I said, they could do it very easy. They're just choosing not to. They want to
And
squeeze
that's
this in.
what I'm
You
saying.
know.
That is the part that
Yeah.
frustrates me is because it is so easy
It
to
is easy
do.
to do. Play's not complex. I'm sorry. Most of
It's
these
not.
superheroes aren't that complex. You break them down, right? The simplest form. It's not. So yeah, I don't think they can crack it in a way that fits with their world. And that's, dude, you don't have to fit the MCU. It's okay to have something in its own. It really is. You know what I'm saying? You could even put it on the Fox. Fine. Nobody cares. You know what I'm saying?
Blade versus Predator.
I mean,
Yeah.
right? I mean, this is put Blade as a Fox property and has his own thing. That there's no ties to the MCU. There's no illusions, and you get a badass Blade. Everybody wants to see it.
But I want the
You know,
illusions. I want it all
I
there.
get it,
I
but
want
they
it.
can't do
I
it. This is
want it.
unfortunate. I get maybe they don't cancel. Maybe they move forward with it, but I don't know, man. As we get closer to the at this ending of this phase, I think it becomes more
Listen,
unlikely, right?
I just
Or
saw
series.
a photo online of Mahershala Ali from Jurassic Park, and it made me sad.
Look, you forced him to go with fake dinosaurs. You forced him into a franchise
he
on the low. You know,
he can't
God,
kill vampires, so you made him go kill another make believe monster
God,
thing,
it's
and
not,
it makes me
and it's
sad.
uncool. That's not cool.
It's nowhere as
It's
cool
cool.
as he would
The
have
only
been.
cool person in Jurassic Park is going back to Jeff Goldblum, the
Goldblum, that's
chaotician.
it.
That was it.
That's the only person that can pull it off.
That was cool. Everything else is they were fodder, which is what we wanted to see.
Very sad.
So yeah, so it's a shame. But on a positive note, as far as the MCU, we got some news on Spider-Man 4, which has been rumored to be the next film. I think after
Either right before Doomsday or right
or after,
after
in between
Doomsday.
Doomsday and MC.
That's
I would assume it's gonna be in between Doomsday and that, again, assumption.
well, I like to say, it might be right before
It's
Doomsday,
potential to,
or it might be right
yeah,
after
because I heard
Doomsday,
it's gonna start production sometime next year.
which is fast.
Just fast. I don't know if there's a lot of time to release it early part of 2025. It's a big ask.
Look,
With
honestly,
with such especially a heavy effects film and how backed up they are. We heard about
look,
that.
what we got. Look. I'll be honest with you. The minute they kicked off Dustin Daniel Creighton off of Avengers 5,
Excuse me.
and then they announced this, I was like, oh, they've been working on the previs since they kicked them
It's
off.
possible,
Like
yeah,
they
because
knew
obviously, yeah,
this was
yeah,
it.
yeah. He's coming out Shang-Chi, director of
Absolutely.
Shang-Chi. Now I'm directing this. This is consolation
Sure.
prize after he got booted off
Uh huh.
Avengers. Um, oh
I mean, listen, if not Avengers, Spider-Man really is
no,
an equal to, if not second place.
no, it's
It's
second.
either second
It's
place
not
or
equal to
equal to the
Avengers. Let's
Avengers.
not get crazy either. That's a
Look, in terms of earnings, Spider-Man is the
look.
past two Spider
Spider-Man
movies have earned a billion
is
each.
the top, right? No doubt, right? As
It's
far
terrible.
as in terms of MCU, and they're the single hero movies, but the Avengers
Absolutely, that's what I'm
ensemble,
saying.
it's a bigger movie. It's a bigger project,
I'm,
right?
I'm talking.
Yeah.
I'm talking in terms of like what it does to like our director earned this amount of money, even though really it's a
Of
character.
course,
You could say
of
I
course.
directed this movie. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
no, for
So,
him,
but you
of
could say
course, yeah,
I
yeah.
directed a Spidey movie. It
Ah,
made $1 billion. That means I'm a billion dollar
no, for
director.
him, it's great because that movie makes $1 billion, getting out of
That's what I'm
waking up out
saying.
of bed. So that's good. I like Shang-Chi. I didn't love it. I think we both had issues with the third part of it, third act, but it's
But
still a good
a
movie.
lot something that I hear a lot of people are saying is like, oh, this movie is so much better with the fighting now because look how good the fighting in Shang-Chi was. And I keep
No,
saying, I think everyone forgot the third act. The third act fighting
it
was
was not good.
horrible.
Yeah,
And really, if you're gonna go for fighting, that's your fight coordinator and your cinematographer
right.
that's helping
Second,
you pull
yes,
those
yeah,
shots off.
second director, and the
Yeah,
Shang-Chi lent itself to that style of fighting. Right, it's
right.
not the
So I
same thing.
like,
It's not. You know,
but is he capable of being more
of
dynamic because of that
course,
experience? Absolutely, but
yes.
that's not a
No, it's not
guarantee.
guaranteed. There's nothing guaranteed.
So what I'm
Agreed.
excited about is the fact that Simu Liu was so likable and there was legitimate funny parts in the movie.
Yes,
That's what he's going to bring
like that
to the character.
that
Then
tone is pitch perfect for Spider-Man, right?
absolutely, you're
Perfect.
absolutely right, a
Yeah,
hundred
and
percent.
so we know he can do that. The fighting, I mean, yeah, people you're gonna, don't expect that, right? It just doesn't.
I don't. But
Spider-Man doesn't
if
do
you like
kung
the
fu. That's not
character,
his thing.
if you like the yeah, if you like the tone and the characterization of the first two
Correct.
acts, that's what you're going to get, and that's
Yes.
what I'm excited
Yeah,
about.
that's
Is
what he
that
brings. Okay, now we're in business, right? Everything else,
right?
whatever. Let someone else handle it or figure something out. But because that Spider-Man action is not the same as Shang-Chi action. It's just, it's not.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
not.
It's like you're comparing Die Hard and John Wick. It's not the same. They're both action films,
Yeah,
but completely different spectrums.
very different
Right? It's not
movies.
the same.
Very different movies.
So I assume we're gonna get that here. But the tone is me right. I like the tone. I like this guy. The tone, I think, is perfect for Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see where. I mean, I heard it still involves, unfortunately, multiverse stuff. They didn't just
I
go.
heard
They
that
didn't just
too.
go through
But
this. I mean, again, and it's cool that
But
he's
I
back.
heard that
To like.
that was part of the Sony prerequisite is to make it multiversal, and so
That's the only
that.
part that
But
worries me.
once again,
That concerns me a little bit.
but I know I
Yeah.
get it, but also because that Sony prerequisite is why I also believe what I was told about the post credit scene in Venom 3. It's a Sony
Perhaps, yeah,
prerequisite. So
perhaps. I mean, again, this is still a Sony property, right? We keep
yeah,
saying Marvel and MCU,
unfortunately,
but it's not. It's Sony, but for better
yeah.
or worse. I mean, Marvel may handle the creative part of it,
Spider-Man movies is the way Sony gets to trick all the other actors to do those
That's
adjacent
of course,
Spider-Man movies. They
yeah,
go,
you got
it's a
Spider Man.
Marvel
But
movie. No,
listen,
it's not.
it's great because they do none of the work and reap all the benefits, right? They do nothing. All they gotta do is distribute the film and market it, right? They don't have the creative process. They don't hire anybody. They don't do shit. Marvel does all, and they only get 75% of the cut. That's genius. I don't know about you. That's a great deal for Sony, man.
Listen, we've always talked about this.
You can, yeah.
Sony, Amy Pascal
I mean,
is
it's
a
yeah.
horrible producer, but a brilliant
I mean, it's
businesswoman.
genius. I mean, what
Brilliant.
kind of deal is that? I do none of the work and I get 75% of the cut, and 75% of a big piece of pie. Right, that's a
Absolutely.
$1 billion movie,
I,
right?
the,
$1 billion.
the only recompense is Marvel going, but once again, we get all the merchandise. And so,
It's
yeah,
it's a win-win, but
clothes,
still, yeah,
action
of
figures,
course.
that like, all
But
that
I
make
think,
so it kind of evens out a
well, I don't know
little
because I
bit.
don't know if Sony, because Sony only had the movie rights, so even if they made their own film, they still don't get that anyway. So they know what it had
But
that.
I know,
So
but now Marvel gets to
I know,
specifically
yeah,
make
Marvel
those
gets
things that
that,
it,
of
so
course, but
yeah,
they
so it
did
works
it
out
anyway.
better
But
for
they did
them.
it anyway. With Spider-Man,
Right,
Spider-Man,
but the better
Spider-Man's
the
gonna
movie, the
sell
more
with.
sales are going to
Well,
be. So
Spider-Man
it
sells
works.
without movies. Any they don't need Spider-Man's.
But
Yeah, but
no, it does.
yeah,
But the better the movie, the
of course,
better
of course.
the
But
back end sales. So
it's
yeah.
Sony that really reaps for doing no work.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
Marvel's
yeah.
doing work. They gotta work to make this film good. Sony just sits back and says, "Listen, do this, do this. It's done. All right, we'll distribute. Thank you very much."
The Sony Marvel deal always makes you feel like the guy who's banging the really hot chick, like she's just got to show up,
For
and the
real.
guy's like, I got to bring a personality and accomplishment,
You
and
know what it is now.
hustle,
It's
make
like
it work, work, work.
it's like you're at the bar, you see some girl, you start talking to her, liquor her, get her liquor, she's liquored up, she's ready to go. You go to the bathroom, here comes the guy and talks to her, and you come out of the bathroom, she's leaving with him. That's what Sony does. Sony leaves with the girl.
I don't know, no.
You did all the work.
Guy
The
who
guy
hooked her
juiced her up. He's ready to
still
rock.
gets to close the deal, but she just lays there like a fish,
No,
and the guy's like, I did it.
Sony
I
takes
it
it,
happen.
and the guy says, "Well, hey, it's because of me." That's what you tell yourself. It's because of me. He's hooking up. That's great, but the guy's getting all the benefits. That's so genius. Bravo. That's how you do business. that's good business.
Dirty business.
Hey, Marvel signed that they didn't care, so whatever. They just wanted it.
I mean, listen,
they get out of it.
25% of $1 billion.
They get a lie and they get the character, so they win too. Don't get me wrong, obviously,
yeah,
so,
absolutely.
no doubt. But Sony, if Sony's genius, it really is. Curious to see what happens when they. I mean, I would assume they keep doing it. I don't know how long the MCU is going to keep Spider-Man. I don't know what the plans are, whatnot. I heard they're not even in a contract, to be honest with you, as far as Tom Holland or something. That's what I heard.
Well, I heard Tom Holland, they have the 3 new Sony movies, but they have Tom for 2 team movies.
Okay, yes. Okay, so that's interesting. So he's getting paid.
Yeah.
Talk about
yeah. Oh, he's getting paid.
He's getting paid. If he's not getting 20, he should be getting Robert Downey-esque kind of, not like
he's
Robert Downey.
Probably to get Robert Downey-esque, but for more.
But like I'll say like original Avengers, not current Robert Downey. He's not getting $100 million, but I'm saying I said 20, 25 a movie, maybe more. I would.
Well,
if he's not getting that, he's an idiot.
Like Robert Downey's getting like almost $100 million for 2 movies.
Yeah.
He's getting $100 million for like 6 movies. Exactly. So the same amount of money, but
more work. But I'm saying if he's not doing that, then he's got a terrible agent.
Yeah,
terrible. You got to get at least 25 per easy. And maybe an Avengers film, give me 35. Give me points. That's what I do.
Well, he's not going to be. You can't give him 25 because he's not the lead. He's going to be ensemble.
No, I'm talking about 25 individual, but on the Avengers films, take the points.
Take the points in the Avengers film. Absolutely.
Don't pay me.
But I think a lot of like the big Marvel people, when they do Avengers, they go for points rather than.
So I don't know. Everyone negotiates differently because Robert Downey was the only one really getting paid like that amount. No one else was, but him.
Right. Well, because he was the anchor.
Right. So he was smart about it.
He literally was the anchor.
He held the feet to the fire. That you need this guy. You need Spider-Man too. You need Spider-Man without me. You need to get paid. So it's just how it works. Eventually they're gonna cut the cord because he's gonna cost too much money.
He's gonna age out.
And they're like, we ain't paying this. He ain't worth all that. He does.
Listen, it's real easy to be 55 and get shredded, but it's really hard to be like 45 and get shredded and agile. Like, hold up, things are not the best.
CGI only does so much. See The Irishman. You can de-age all you want.
If you notice, Tobey Maguire did a lot of standing in that movie. Not a lot of crouching. A lot of standing.
Here with it, a lot of mask work. Someone the stunt guy.
Once the mask, it was Flip City, but with the mask off, there was a lot of. This guy.
Yeah, and Andrew Garfield's probably at the cusp of that.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield did a couple squats.
But he's. But he looks like he's in better shape than this guy anyway. It looks like.
And Andrew Garfield, when they asked him to jump in the ceiling, it was a straight up. It wasn't a flip.
That's true. There's this, and you see the rest. All right. Action.
That is a man with back issues.
That is
not as agile as he
The only guy that does it is Tom Cruise, man. It is what it is, dude.
Yeah, how does Tom Cruise
exactly.
Once again, Venom asking the important question.
We all go back to the old age question.
This?
Robin wondering. Props and respect to the man. It is what it is, right? Maybe Keanu. He does his own stuff too with the fighting.
Yeah,
he does.
Pretty
with the fighting, he does his own stunt work. Not many do. I don't think that many people do that. They have a couple that do, but just for short moments. But for the most part, they're getting
Yeah.
quick cut, edited into shape.
If you the most realist actor, I know we're going a little bit of tangent, but the most realist actor ever talked about age versus action is when Eddie Murphy was promoting the new Beverly Hills Cop movie, and they're like, "What's the one thing you've learned coming in?" He goes, "I learned how to act out of breath a lot." Like they just cut to me, I'm going as if I did all that. That's the stunt guy, but when they cut to me, I'm like. So I've acted. I learned how to act like I'm out of breath, like I just did
You
something
gotta
amazing.
pretend, man. Yeah,
So
it's not easy, man. It was only one Tom Cruise. That's just the reality.
only
That's
one.
the only. It's one of one. Unicorn. But that all said, tangents get back. But that all said, those are the nuggets for the week.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate all the love you're giving us. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe here on YouTube at the Latin Nerd Network. We can watch such shows as Nerdsplaining, as The Watch List, as Thanos' The Choice, and more shows coming along the way. Don't forget to go to social media at Nerdsplaining _ on Instagram, at Nerdsplaining pod. Nerdsplaining _ on X, Twitter, and Nerdsplaining pod on Instagram. Blah, blah, blah. Don't forget to check out my book, DangerSquad.com. Danger Squad, we have to move our release to September 30th because 30 days takes it right to, guess what, October 30th, day before Halloween. We have some really big exclusives. If you are a Disney person, if you are a Pixar person, you're going to want to subscribe to this Kickstarter because we got some really cool announcements that I can't even talk about yet, but it's going to be awesome. Yeah, we'll stay tuned for that. And don't go to DangerSquad.com, see what's going on. Try to find out the mystery of Dr. Mystery and where his hidden page is. It's all there for Discover as well. Guys, let us know what you thought about the show. Let us know what your favorite James Earl Jones character is. Let us know what you think about what your favorite part of the new Spider-Man is going to be. Let us know if you think Blade's going to work in the Marvel Universe. We want to hear from you. Guys, as always, I have been Eric Da Silva. This has been Jose Romero. We have been Nerdsplaining. And if you don't know, now you know. Boom.